Good day, everybody. This is I forget what installment is of Third Party Threat Hunters. We got back a return guest, the first guest I ever had, which is Julie from the Third Party Risk Association. I'm going to have to edit that one out. I'm totally flummoxed. Julie, just reintroduce yourself to the guests who, for some reason, haven't met you at this point.
Yeah, sure. So Julie Giaischi, CEO, co-founder, Third Party Risk Association. Previous to that, I worked in a healthcare organization, started their third-party security program. I was also a IT auditor for a long time, and then I also worked at a major bank as their third-party officer. Developed TPRA because I was a practitioner and wanted to benchmark off of others, and so just kind of naturally formed into an association.
And I ran across you because I think when I was writing the book and I published the book, we were talking, and you said, "Hey, the book kind of reads like a textbook. Have you ever thought about writing a certificate program or a sort of a training program on it?" At that point, no, I was just trying to figure out which side was up. But yeah, that was the partnership that kind of led to the third-party cyber risk assessor training certificate, which is now a little over a year. It started last March-ish.
Almost 2 years.
Has it been 2 years already? Oh my gosh, time flies when you're having fun. See, I only thought it was a year. And I'm really pleased with the feedback we got with students. We've had a lot of great sessions, and we continue to have both the quarterly sessions, both during the daytime and then the evening classes, depending on where you're situated. And then we've done some special request classes for individual folks, one-on-one, which has been, or not one-on-one, but like for individual clients where we've had a couple of students in there from that single client. Anything you wanted to add on it in terms of updates?
Yeah, it's a really great program. We've actually been surveying the trainees after every session, and they've all had really great feedback. And so we've incorporated quite a bit into the training program. And I personally feel like it's just getting better and better. Our survey scores are 4.7, 4.8 out of 5 usually. And then we're getting really good scores now on the the exam. All of our exams are proctored through Pearson VUE, 5,000 locations worldwide, which people really like because we've had a lot of international students take the certification and also the training. And so some of those international students they're the ones that want that private virtual training as well, so they can do it on their own time.
Yeah. The offshore, the overseas ones have been great. What way of training in the training that we talk about offshore, and I've had a little preface that sometimes with offshore is relative to where you are, right? Because we've had folks who are literally offshore for where we are located in the U.S., which has been great. I'm surprised, but pleasantly surprised by that. It's been really nice teaching folks from both India, Australia, other places. It's been really fun doing that.
Yeah. The other thing that we normally get
Please.
on that's been really great is what we're covering. Because it's not an IT controls training, it is an IT assessment training. So you are literally going through an entire assessment beginning to end through this training program. We do hands-on workshops, and we really cover what you would expect a practitioner to know from a cybersecurity perspective, how to assess a third party, going on site, doing virtual assessments, asking for evidence. When you get stuck on certain things, like if a vendor is trying to tell you one thing and you know it's something else, how to handle that, how to report on all these findings. So we're getting really good feedback on content as well.
And I think the cloud, the two areas that you and I both enjoy. You enjoy the disengagement module or lesson quite a bit because it's an area, to both of our points, that practitioners forget quite a bit, that disengagement area. And we actually have stories about it during that module that we like to talk about. And then the other one is the cloud SaaS piece, where I think a lot of us in this space struggle, and it's a bit of a black box. We're not sure how to unpack it, and that module is designed to unpack it for everybody and demystify it for the big three cloud service providers. And then how you can, how to assess and better understand and ask your vendors, especially since we deal with so much with software now. How do you ask a software vendor that's in the cloud, have you tested this correctly, or are you testing it at all, right? Yeah, I really, and to your point on the how we've changed it, from the initial class to just even this last class. Was it last week we took the last one? Yeah, and we continue to get feedback. We've streamlined how we do the workshops so that we take the same sample company, demo company, through the whole way as a vendor, so that you can then at the end, as you do these due diligence efforts and due care efforts, at the end we talk about reporting and analytics, and then I think you artfully take through the template that the TPR has for reporting, how to then do reporting, which a lot of folks frankly forget about as well.
Right. Yep.
Um,
That's something that we always say third-party risk management isn't a compliance activity. You're really trying to mitigate risk. And part of that is the reporting phase and really understanding who these reports are going to, what information they need, because your business is your risk owner. You're more of a service provider. And so what do these reports need to look like? How do you need to follow up on findings and really get these closed out?
Excellent. So a little segue over to what your new certification that's upcoming. I'm going to say the acronym because I want to make sure I get it right. TPRMP, and you'll explain to everybody what that stands for.
Yep. So it's a third-party risk management practitioner certification, and it's really expanding upon the third-party risk management lifecycle. So we're including planning and oversight, pre-contract due diligence, contracting, continuous monitoring, disengagement, and continuous improvement. That's really important because you have all these emerging risks, you have all these new regulations coming out, so your program needs to be flexible enough to incorporate all that. So not only does it cover the entire life cycle, it focuses on more than just cyber. So we are talking about financial reviews, we're talking about operational reviews. We do also talk about some offshore reviews as well. So there's a lot more into this training than just on cyber, whereas the one that, Greg, you've helped us create is solely focused on cyber because that's the first one everyone does usually. They usually do.
It does. It's the obvious pick for most folks, and when folks are attacking third-party risk, cyber generally gets the most attention because we're waving our hands. You know, folks at the board level and stuff are waving their hands about the cyber risk, and that makes sense. I actually am really happy that you're able to offer this now, because it's not that I think that cyber was ever exclusively ever going to be their certificate. It's just that there are other risk domains or other factors within third-party risk besides cyber. I know it's hard to believe, those who are in cyber. But there are other risk domains that are engaged in this, and teaching it. What I really enjoy too is to see that you've published a framework along with that, right? Because for a long time only kind of the FIs had a bit of a one, right? The financial institutions had a bit of a one through the guidance, but you now have one, and I love the fact that it's it's 5 stages. It's fairly standard, as most of us have approached this through life cycles. If we've created one organically, right? You kind of created one by 5 steps. You put the continuous improvement in there, which is something that we generally forget sometimes. But we're done. Just keep going. So that's great. What's your timeline for this, do you think?
So we are hoping to launch. Yeah. So we wanted to launch it actually earlier this year, but
it takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot of work. And our guidebook took a lot of work, and we built it as a community, and that guidebook is the cert. That's what our training is on. So we have that 146-page free guidebook with lots of resources and templates in there, best practices. That will be the training and the certification. So we had to get that done before we could do the cert, and now we're working on the exam and the student manual, and so we're hoping to launch it the fall of this year. So not too much.
And that'll be through Person View as well.
Yes.
We'll get that one. Oh, excellent. That gives us some great coverage for tests. And let's switch to the upcoming tool tech demo, or is it my tool talk demo? Did I get that right?
TPRM Tools of the Trade. We wanted to add
Tools of the Trade. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah. I just give the audience about it because I actually am definitely going to attend that as well, even though I didn't get the name right.
Yeah. So this is actually going to be July 17th. This is the first year that we've done this. We get asked all the time about tools. We get asked what tools is everyone using? When do I need to implement this? What can it automate? And so we're splitting up this TPRM Tools of the Trade show into a whole day, but it's going to be split up into different tools. So TPRM platforms is some of the hours, TPRM risk rating and intelligence tools, and then also TPRM services. So those are the ones that actually help implement programs or also augment staff. So we're going to do 25-minute demo sessions because 50-minute demo sessions are a little too long. And that's the feedback we actually received from our vendors that are in the trade show. They think short and sweet is great. And then if you want a more in-depth demo, then you can contact whoever is on the call. So 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central on July 17th, free for all, except for if you are a service provider, we don't want competitors joining the demos.
No, play nice, right? Play
Yes.
nice. But that's great. You're right. We even talk about this in the training that we do. That you and I develop. That the tools are important. They're tools for your success. But being able to demonstrate that and allow practitioners to see, kind of kick the tires in that format, I think is really great. So I'm glad that you're doing that. And then in the fall, September, there's the fall virtual conference. So I definitely want to see if I can get on the speakers list for that one and also listen in. So tell the audience about the dates and on that one.
Yeah, so the theme for our fall virtual conference, which we do a fall virtual conference every year, is Beyond Compliance, Cultivating Sustainable Partnerships for Resilient Growth. And this is kind of a two-parter. Really talking about compliance, like regulatory compliance for a whole track, and then also talking about resilience. Those are two key words I feel like for this year is really, there's so many regulations coming out.
I like that, yeah.
A lot of international DU, a lot of domestic ones. So we're really going to kind of try to dig into that, as well as sustainable partnerships. So what do you need to do to ensure operational resiliency, but also maintaining great support with your third parties, so that you're not acting as an adversary, but you're really working with them in a collaborative effort to ensure that you and their organization are operationally resilient.
Yeah, the resilience is really the key there, right? Because it's not a question of if, but when you're going to have a third or fourth party impact your operations. So focusing on resilience is great, and your conferences are always great. I do the in-person ones. I've done all of them, and always have a great time and come away with new contacts and new lessons learned. And the virtual ones also. I'm a person who likes to do the in-person ones, but I do the virtual ones because they're offered, right? But I look forward always to your spring in-person one as well. And then we'll wrap it up with the last couple of minutes on the certificate program you're getting, starting to ramp up a little bit. You and I are working on some content. You want to just tease it out a little bit for the audience, and then I'll let you kind of divulge as much as you feel comfortable, Julie.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the virtual conference, though, I don't think I gave the dates. So September.
I apologize.
18th, yeah. That's okay. September 18th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's also free for anyone, vendor or practitioner.
I'll try to put the links in either and where we post this, as well as is in the video if I can. So I'll put those dates in there as well, just to remind everybody.
Awesome, thank you. So the certificate program, there are quite a few focus areas that we are getting questions on quite a bit. And so you and I started chatting about how can we provide the community with specific training in a shorter amount of time. So not as long as our certification program, but a shorter amount of time that would be direct to these specific questions. So could be specific regulations, could be specific guidance coming out, could be specific threats, or could be specific training on a more focused area such as cloud or something like that. So this type of certificate program would be 2 to 3 to 4 hours of training. And at the end, you would get almost like a CPE certificate. It would say that you've completed this training. So it wouldn't be certification, but it would just be more of an in-depth training so that we can bring our community up to the level that they're asking for. So you and I a couple of those programs as well.
Yeah, I think it offers a way for folks like myself and others in the space who want to produce content to help out the community, and then as a trainee or somebody who's getting trainee, idea would be that you can learn a certain skill set, get a little bit upskilled, and get the CPs out of it, and then potentially show it to an employer or a potential employer to say, I have training in this. There's no certificate program offered, but I have certification. But I took training for how to assess cloud and TPRM for a 4-hour class, whatever was offered. I'm glad that you're getting to that. And again, I don't think we have a time on that, but sometime 2024.
I'm hoping
Give-ish.
so. Yeah.
Hopefully, so me as well. Again, I'd work with your timeline on that one. I know you've got a lot on your plate, as we can tell from this 15 minutes or so on this podcast. Any closing thoughts? Anything hot topics you see coming down the pipe, or any closing thoughts?
I think a lot of these training sessions and virtual conferences and tools of the trade are really the hot topics. They're coming directly from the community on what they're wanting to know about. And what I appreciate the most is, Greg, that you also have your ear to the ground, and you're coming, to us saying, let's work on this. We're getting these questions, and you being the subject matter expert that you are, we're just really excited to continue working with you personally, because you're such a plethora of knowledge, and so we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah. It's my pleasure. It's been a good partnership. We've produced a lot of great content. I've learned a lot from the practitioners and you and as leaders as well. So, and you have a great staff which produces great content and the conferences. So I only know Heather and Megan really well, but again, there's other folks and volunteers. I did want to give a shout out too for the spring conference. It went really well. Julie had a great time. Learned a lot of new things. Didn't walk away like every time. I always walk away with I got to follow this. I got to do this. And so making notes of everything I wanted to follow up on, which is where I want to come out of the conference. So hats off to you and the team for putting that on and doing a great job. Any hints at where 2025 will be?
Well, we're very close to.
See, I surprised you with that call, didn't I? You got a short list yet?
We do. We've narrowed it down to 2 locations, and so.
Are you willing to share?
We actually have a meeting tomorrow. I don't want to share just yet. But we actually have a meeting tomorrow to finalize where it will be. So we should have done this.
Stay tuned.
Later, and I could have probably shared.
Oh, darn it! Yeah. Well, stay tuned. You'll probably announce it somewhere on the website as soon as you know. So stay tuned. So is it it's East Coasty this time, right? Are we sticking East Coasty? Okay. Yep. All right. That sounds great. That's a little bit better of a commute for some of us. All right. Great. Thanks again for being a guest. I'll talk to you soon. Let me just stay on after I hang up. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.